Caner Universe. It is Caner Tip Tuesday, and today in Sobrevivencia, by the way, we're still doing the Sobrevivencia series because you are saying keep it coming, so we really appreciate your feedback. That's how we keep it going. Obviously, we're not going to keep it all the way going to September, but we will continue to share with you and give you further insights. But today, the proper use, the understanding of the horn and crook in Sobrevivencia, and not with this type of cane. I'm going to show you how to do it with a cane that has the horn and crook. But listen, before we do any of that, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button, the little bell icon, so that you don't miss any future content. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. Avail yourself. You have 2 free resources. Those of you that have been watching for a while, have you done the no-cost cane clarity call? That's where it all starts. That's where it all begins, so that we can listen to where you are now. Do you have any limitations? Do you have injuries? How long have you been training? What's your goal? What do you want to do? We will give you a functional plan, a step-by-step that you can apply immediately so that you can actually attain your training goals with the cane. Training is the real equalizer. I always tell you, text the letter CCC to 305-745-7839. And then you have a second free resource, which is, if you look at the description, it's a private Facebook group. It's the only one in ACSD we have open to the general public. And all you have to do, take a look there. There's a link, request entry, and they will let you right in. So here's what you need to know about the way Sobrevivencia looks at horn and crook work. And when I say horn and crook, if I can have one of these canes, this is the horn and crook. So what the lay person refers to as the handle, right? This J handle, this is the horn and this is a crook. And so in ACSD, so that you don't forget it, you hit with the horn, you hook with the crook. I've gone to great lengths in showing proper use of this, how, and I'll go over it again now a little bit for those of you that are unfamiliar with. Now, with this type of derby style handle, I've said this before, yes, this is used in Sobrevivencia. Maestro Ruiz used this a lot on the island, and you can use this to strike. It's very effective that way. You can use it to hammer up close. Where you're going to have the limitations is when you remove this from the cane, it is essentially a stick. That's what it is. And so Sobrevivencia, that's fine, because you treat everything as a tool for self-protection. But Maestro Ruiz refers to this type of cane, in his words, it is a formidable tool of self-protection if you know what you're doing with it. And that's what I'm going to share with you here today, how it's used in this unique system. So the first thing that I want to point out, just as a review, is that the whole idea, right, and we have conversations every day with caners calling every day, say, well, I want this wide enough so that it fits around my opponent's neck. And the answer to that is no, you don't. No, you don't. This is not, you don't want it to fit comfortably around anybody's neck with ACSD or a limb or anything like that. It is designed to snag, rake, hook, and collect DNA, in essence, right? That's what you have it. Now, think about it. In the island, you didn't have anything real sharp. You didn't have anything like that. So that's one distinction. But one of the main, if I want to get one thing across, and it's the parallel, the similarity with ACSD and Sobrevivencia, it's the following. And that is that you're essentially connecting first with some kind of a strike to a bony area, and then you're snagging. In other words, it's not where you're coming in here to try to put this as a first move around an assailant's neck. Can you imagine that? Because we get that a lot, right? Where, maybe she just, her hands are out here and I do, and I'm going straight to go there. Well, gosh, she could put her hands on that. Yeah, it's right to her midline. Same thing on a limb to kind of come in here, and then just with that, that's kind of tough, right? There's always going to be some type of strike first, and that's how it's used in Sobrevivencia as well. So I'll do some here, and bring that ACB nearby, because I do want to show something with that as well. So keep in mind, again, the Maestro Ruiz was not using an elaborate cane here, something very simple. So, a strike that was coming in, and again, always against a tool, right? Because he was always having to defend against somebody who had some kind of impact tool. So coming to the inside. Now watch this movement. If you've seen the videos on Sobrevivencia, that's your first move. Now you've seen this, right? It comes in here. Now I want you to notice with just a flick of the wrist, right? Very similar to ACB. When you do this movement, there's the strike. When you turn this, there's the snag. Look at the space, and now you're gonna snag, and it's a rotational pivot that jams, my body jams the tool here. So there's nothing else to do. So essentially, you're bringing your assailant's head below his waist, or pretty close, because when you bring the head below the waist, you're throwing off the biomechanics. So the move to the inside, a quick flick, and you come down. Now, with something like this, like an ACB 32, those of you that have canes that have a palm rest, you can see the value, and something like this, right? It's shorter, right? It comes in here, but it's so easy to come in here and strike. Look at that palm rest, to come in here, and then the snag is just here. You're strangulating. See how it throws her off? The minute I do this, turn to the camera a little bit. The minute I do this, there's a strangulation there, and I can now come in that rotational pivot. My leg and my body are jamming the stick, right? The impact tool. That's one way to do that. If you were dealing against a grab, and if you haven't gone over understanding why Sobrevivencia deals with grabs, you say, well, that's not very common in the street. Well, remember, he had a tool, so did they. So the idea is to prevent you from getting out here and doing anything. And that's one way to do it. And but that's akin to how it was, right, with the samurai. If I can stop you here from drawing your tool, right? And so, and there you are. And it's this move here that chokes up on the wrist. Now, Vanessa, take your wrist out. Now, if you don't have the detail in this, your opponent will be able to remove that wrist. So there's a choking up that happens here, and this is why, leave your hand, this is why he refers to this as just, this is what makes it formidable when you know what you're doing. Notice the leverage here and the leverage coming in here. And the exact same thing, by the way, the cane in Sobrevivencia teaches the empty hand. So kept here at the small level, go ahead and remove the hand. You can't remove the hand because I have that grip, that sword grip on there, and there we are, right, going to the eyes, to the vital area. The third way that the horn and crook is used in SV, and this is a somewhat of a specialty, which is Maestro Ruiz became very adept at disarming a tonfa-like tool that they would use on the island. And it's for those of you unfamiliar with a tonfa, basically a handle here, and then you have this here, and you can move that around. But he became very adept at doing this with something very simple. I'm going to step back a little bit so you can see it here. But the same type of move with a very simple, see, now it doesn't stay here. It always comes down to strike in, and then from here is where that move comes in. And when you do that slowly, and I'll do it slowly, so you all right? My hand. So when you're doing something like this and you come down and turn, this starts jamming. See how you're choking in here, and this starts jamming the body. So by the same token, as you rotate and spiral out, that's where it comes off, and it's this kind of movement. You all right? It's this kind of movement. And boy, isn't it just, everything is happening and just moving and rotating from there. So that's to give you an idea. Notice that it's still up close, but a departure from this whole concept that you might see out there where this is going around the neck and we're going to flip somebody and they're going to do a 360, and it's a great show and it's a great demonstration. Not a part of ACSD, certainly not a part of SB and his experience out there on the island. So how do you learn more about this? We do have the best way to learn it is to come down, if you have if it's important enough to you, to come down September 19th through the 22nd. It's Fall Cane Immersion, and it's great to learn it directly from him. We have others that are going to be, we have bonus sessions I'll be presenting there, and so will Grandmaster Bram Frank. But if that's of interest to you, there's still slots available. It's about a third of the way full. They're still 6 months out, so we believe it's going to sell out way before. And it's always for your best interest that we limit that participation so that we can work intimately with you. If you read the reviews, that's what ACSD immersions are all about. Text FALL, F-A-L-L, 2023 to 305-745-7839. And outside of that, let's just have a conversation. Take us up on the no-cost cane clarity call. You're going to be glad you did, because it's going to save you a ton of time, money, because there's a lot of things, the majority of things I always tell you, you don't need to invest in, and certainly when you're first starting. So we'll bring clarity to that, see how we can get it done. It's going to save you frustration, right, and trying to figure things out by yourself, and it doesn't cost you a penny to do it. Text CCC to 305-745-7839. I'm Joe Robaina from American Cane Self-Defense and Sobrevivencia. Thanks for watching. Keep caning. Stay safe.